In light of that, talk to us about the movie, and I think also about the research that went into it in terms of getting ready for the character that you played.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that when I read, I assumed this must be some kind of fantastical, idea. But of course, it occurred. It's what we're doing has been detailed in some, articles. You guys probably read the Flash Boys. There's some of that stuff in there of these guys, trying to build this line underground to. I don't know what the appropriate terminology is with people, because you guys are experts, but to like essentially get information a millisecond faster than everybody else. And yeah, it's fascinating. It's interesting because most movies you see that are about Wall Street are taking place in rooms like this or taking place in offices around the corner. But this one takes place in swamps and cutting through mountains and going door to door, asking people for a 4-inch strip of their land, to dig this hole.
It's interesting hearing you talk about it in the way you have and about the stock exchange, because does that mean there was sort of no element of actual going in to become a trader, to prepare? And when you do new roles, we talked in the tease about your role as playing Mark Zuckerberg. Do you immerse yourself in that sort of preparation or
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, my main concern with doing a movie like this is to try to bring as much emotion and humor and human element to a movie that to an audience could be possibly dry details about financial stuff. So it's less important for me to kind of be an expert in what you guys are experts in, and more important for me to kind of humanize this complicated story of this, complicated financial transaction.
And they're trying to get the slightest edge, but as outsiders, right? It's not like the guys inside have the special information. What fascinated me about this, to tell you how much Wall Street has changed, in the movie The Grifters, there's a scam they play where they say they can delay the quotes from Japan to New York by 7 seconds.
Oh, really?
So 30 years ago, it took 7 seconds.
Now
it
it's
takes
a 16th. Now it's it's a 16th of a second. It's a millisecond. Yeah.
So but these guys could be selling almost kind of anything.
Yeah, that's what's interesting to me too. And as somebody who's comes from an artist family, and we're all socialists and everything, so apologies. But it's interesting to me to learn the lengths people go to, to do something that produces nothing, because there's no end product or any help. It's not helping anybody, except it's creating wealth, which obviously, but it's creating wealth for a very small group of people. Because after they would build this line, the goal is to then basically go extort companies, saying if you're not on our line, you're basically going to lose.
You also played Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network. Facebook's been in the news quite a bit over the last year plus with all the privacy scandals. What do you think of that company, and have you ever opened a Facebook account? Because I remember reading that when you were doing that movie, you hadn't.
So I opened a Facebook account for 30 seconds when we were doing the movie, just to see what it was, and I got an email saying, and again, this was 10 years ago, and I got an email. I used a fake name, fake email address and everything. And I got an email saying, we think you'd be friends with this woman who was my sister's best friend in high school. So I immediately shut it down, terrified, and I've never been back on.
It's interesting to hear you give that perspective. And as Morgan mentioned, there's been a lot of backlash for Facebook, as I'm sure you know well, recently. Do you ever get recognized in the street by people who think you're actually Mark Zuckerberg? And has their reaction changed?
Oh, that's funny. It hasn't happened in the last few months, that it's been in the news. No, I mean, when the movie came out, I think because he wasn't as famous as he is now, he wasn't as public as he is now, there was some confusion because people just saw ads and didn't know what they were seeing. But no, now. I mean, of course, I'd rather be recognized as him because he'd probably, well, maybe not now, he'd get criticized, but also I could walk in and get a loan much more easily to a bank than I could as myself.